Thank you, Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan. In fact, I think over the last 1 month that I've been coordinating with him, the first time he was in UK, then the other time he was in Boston, and then I just lost track. And I was extremely happy that he built a window of time to actually come down from Bombay after landing from all the destinations that he's been traveling to. So it's a huge privilege. He's a globetrotter, very difficult to get his time, and it's extremely privileged to have him with us. I'd like to also introduce someone else who's with us today. Again, someone not easy to get equally, and Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan's comrade in many ways. I would like to invite Mr. Harish Bhatt on the stage. And I think in the days of social media, when profiles are really not, people just go to LinkedIn. He's got over 1.5 lakh followers on LinkedIn itself. So that's just a metric for you. Yeah. So Harish has been with the Tata Group for 36 years, holding senior roles such as brand custodian of the Tata Sons, which is a very, very important, role that he has there. He was the MD and CEO at Tata Global Beverages and COO of Titan Company. Now serving as an advisor at Tata Sons, he's also a director on the boards of Trent, Infinity Retail, which is Chroma, and Tata Starbucks. An avid marketer, Harish has nurtured iconic Tata brands like Tanishq, Titan, and Tata Tea. Forbes named him as one of the top 10 most influential chief marketing officers globally in 2022 and 23. Harish is a graduate of BITS Pilani and IIM Ahmedabad. A prolific author, Harish has 7 published books, including 3 national bestsellers, and has been a columnist for the Hindu Business Line and Mint. LinkedIn recognizes him as one of the top voices in India. So, like all professionals that I meet, from the Tata Group, and however senior they are, they come with a huge sense of humility. When Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan introduced me to Harish and put me in, as part of the conversation that we are having, it was incredible that Harish was very approachable, answers the WhatsApp, picks up the call, acknowledged, sends emails with a thank you. Many times we send mails and mails itself don't get acknowledged, but every mail that we've sent him, right, me, Samta, anybody from the team, he has acknowledged. So I have to say that, good leadership comes also with a huge sense of humility. And despite however big you are, I think these small gestures really leave a lasting impression for us who are on the other side. So with that, I'd like to have Harish really talk about a very critical unveiling of a book we'll do. But at the same time, I'd like to invite Mr. D.K. Singh from ISRO. He's a distinguished scientist. We thought that we should have the privilege. Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan has also already taken the name of ISRO. We were blown away with the keynote speaker of ISRO, Dr. T.K. Anuradha, in our last conclave. I don't know how many of you were there. And the culture of ISRO, despite being a government organization, how entrepreneurial that it can be, and the kind of innovators and innovations and ideators across genders that it has nurtured, we thought would be best suited to have on stage to really do the book unveiling. Shri D.K. Singh is a distinguished scientist, currently director of the Human Space Flight Center, ISRO Bengaluru. He holds Master of Technology in Electronics Engineering from IIT BHU Varanasi. Over his 35-year-long association with ISRO, he has held multitude of important responsibilities, including Group Director, Radio Frequency Systems Group, Deputy Director, Human Space Flight and Advanced Technology, and Associate Director at Space Application Center, Ahmedabad. It's a really long, I will just keep it short. He received the ISRO Merit Award for year 2013, and Astronautical Society of India Award in 2018 for his contribution towards spacecraft technology. We're going to be having 3 scientists with us from ISRO over today and tomorrow. It's a huge privilege to have them with us. And with that, I would like to call upon Mr. Singh. If you could just press this. It's a little bit of a drama if it works. We just thought that if it's possible, if you could just... Yeah. Oh, go back. Oh, it was too fast. That's it. Just hold it there. Hold it there. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So Harish, over to you. Again, it's an open space. We are too small to really project this. We leave it to you. Thank you.
A very, very good afternoon to all of you, and it's an honor and privilege to be here at this conclave for the unveiling of a very special book that Mr. Gopalakrishnan and I have co-authored. So Pooja, thank you very much for inviting us to unveil this book here. I must start with an anecdote about Mr. Gopalakrishnan, who has just spoken to all of you in the keynote. So in November 2022, I was celebrating my 60th birthday. And on my birthday, I receive a call from Mr. Gopalakrishnan. And he says, Harish, I have this idea in mind for a book on Jamshedji Tata, but not a biography of Jamshedji Tata, but a book which shows how the ideas of Jamshedji Tata have actually powered the Tata Group for the past 156 years. Did you know that the Tata Group is 156 years this year? 1868 is when it was founded. Okay. And you will find it very difficult to name several companies which are more than 150 years old. There are very few which have prospered and grown. And Mr. Gopalakrishnan turned around and said, Harish, would you like to co-author this book with me? For me, it was the best birthday gift that I could have received, because Mr. Gopalakrishnan has been my mentor on my writing voyage. And I just want to make one point, which comes through in this book as well, about Jamshedji Tata. But one of the things that I have learned from Mr. Gopalakrishnan is the gift of generosity. When I wrote my first book, I was working in Titan here in Bangalore. Sumant would know that. I was his colleague. And I was very much inspired to write a book. And Mr. Gopalakrishnan was already a director of Tata Sons at that time. I wrote to him through my boss, Bhaskar Bhatt, who was the MD of Titan. And I was not even sure I would get 5 minutes of his time, but he gave me an hour and a half to discuss the book, what the structure should be, what the story should be. He then came to the Tata Management Training Center when I was writing the book and helped me look at what was good, what was not good, how I should structure it. And eventually he wrote the foreword to my first book. So for a director of a company to do that was exemplary. And I think we should learn the gift of generosity from him. This book has been an amazing experience co-authoring it with him. And what this book is all about is very simple. The gentleman you see on the cover of this book, on the screen there, Jamshedji Tata, is the founder of the Tata Group. He was a Parsi merchant of Mumbai who in 1868 founded the group. And look at how the group has grown today. Today it's a $165 billion revenue group. Very recently, the market capitalization of the Tata Group has crossed $400 billion. And it is India's best-known brand, best-known corporate brand across the world. How have those original ideas of Jamshedji Tata powered the group for 156 years? What was his philosophy? His philosophy of putting the community center stage and not just as another stakeholder. What did it require to take that philosophy forward? It required persistence, it required the right people, it required a certain approach of pioneering to get the group moving into new businesses. It required good strategy and progress. It required working with some principles and some ethics in mind. And it also required an overarching sense of purpose that I think connects all of us within the Tata Group today. So this book is about that. And I believe that it is very, very useful reading for entrepreneurs, for managers, for leaders, for any observer of the corporate scene, and for students of business as well. It has several essays and several stories. And I'm just going to take 2 minutes to narrate one of those stories. Is that okay? So one of the things I do here is talk about principles. And Principles, in my view, are beliefs that you hold very, very close to yourself. And I'm going to request Mr. Gopalakrishnan later to speak for a couple of minutes on the book. But one of the stories I've narrated here is the story of the second chairman of the Tata Group. Jamshedji Tata was the first chairman, but I have narrated a story 20 to 30 years after the time of Jamshedji Tata. And the second chairman of our group was a gentleman called Dorabji Tata. And Dorabji Tata was chairman of Tata Steel as well. Tata Steel had been born in 1906, but immediately after World War I, Tata Steel went through a big downturn because demand for steel collapsed in Japan and in many other parts of the world. And there came a time in 1924 when Tata Steel was on the verge of collapse. There was no money left in the coffers of Tata Steel to pay their workers, and workers were at risk of losing their jobs. Imagine this situation. And here you had Dorabji Tata. So Dorabji Tata had been married in 1898, had fallen in love with a lady called Meherbai Tata, who was from Bangalore, incidentally. He came to Bangalore to meet her, and her father was an educationist here. And after they got married, Dorabji Tata, being a wealthy man, son of Jamshedji Tata, he gifted his wife what at that time was the largest diamond in the world. It was called the Jubilee Diamond, 245 carats in size, twice the size of the Kohinoor diamond that you would have heard of. When this telegram from Tata Steel came to Dorabji Tata saying that we don't have money to pay our wages, what he did then was amazing. He consulted his wife, and Meherbai and Dorabji Tata together went and pledged their entire personal wealth, which at that time was about 1 crore of rupees, to the Imperial Bank of India, which is today called the State Bank of India, to raise a loan for Tata Steel. And they raised a loan of 1 crore rupees for Tata Steel. They were able to pay their workers. Tata Steel survived. And of course, after the impact of the World War went, Tata Steel then prospered and grew. That's an amazing anecdote to me, which reflects the principles of the Tata Group. To think that a man could have pledged his entire personal fortune to save jobs and to save a company is amazing when you look at it in hindsight from today, including the Jubilee Diamond, which was pledged as part of the personal wealth. So this is just one of the several anecdotes and stories which are narrated in this book, and these stories cover all the way from Jamshedji Tata's time until the current day and age. You will see how these principles, how the purpose, how the persistence, how the people strategies of the group have flown over the last 156 years. And there are many, many lessons that we can take away, each of us can take away from a book like this. So with those few words, I'm very, very thankful for the unveiling of the book here. And I'm going to request Mr. Gopalakrishnan, my senior author, who actually had the idea for this book, to speak a few words about it. So over to you.
I think I've spoken enough, but of relevance to this particular conference on intrapreneurship, I hope I pronounce it right. I want to read out from page 229, just 5 lines, because it's relevant to the subject of your conference. We often refer to American case studies, American universities, American entrepreneurs, and I think we should. We should learn from everybody. But at the risk of appearing very dramatic, I want to read out, is it possible that Jamshedji and his successors, right up to Chandrasekharan now, represent for India what a wide combination of industrialists did for America? What Andrew Carnegie did for steel, plus what Henry Ford did for automobiles, plus what Conrad Hilton did for hotels, plus what T.J. Watson did for information processing, plus what Joan Tripp did for airlines. He was the first chairman and the founder of Pan Am. Plus what Sam Walton did for retailing, plus what Robert Noyce did for microchips, all rolled into one, Tata. I'm not saying this so much to praise Tata. I'm too small to do that. But to say that entrepreneurship comes because you think of a product, the process of making the product, and the business system model. And if you do all of these, Tata is the only international group where the parent company is private and the subsidiaries are listed. All other international companies are the other way around. So you just turn it on its head and look at the degrees of freedom and flexibility that you've imparted to the organizations. So it's a nice little story. I want to close with, since our ISRO friend is here, Mr. Dinesh. This is a true story, he will confirm. When Apollo 8, I think, went up and they couldn't get it back. 13. There's a film on it also. And they were stuck. Some malfunction and carbon monoxide was coming into the thing. They had X number of hours. If they didn't solve the problem, and all the remote sensing and nothing worked. And I'm going to dramatize it in the interest of brevity, otherwise I'll tell you so long a story. Down in Houston, they took out all the parts, components that are there on Apollo 13. And they said, here are all the parts available to these guys up there. How will you prevent the carbon monoxide coming in? And once Sardarji got to say, "Main karan ji," isko jugaad karke, the carbon monoxide was stopped and the 3 astronauts came back. Correct story? Approximately. And the Sardarji part is just a bit of an exaggeration. But there is no end to innovation, and therefore I wish your conference very well. Please remember, your oxygen is curiosity, and your stamina is your lung power. And don't blame anybody else if you're not entrepreneurial. Thank you.
Can we have a photo, please? I'll also just come. Aparna? Big felicitation. Thank you so much. It's really sort of leveled up our conclave. And despite all the disconnects with the term entrepreneurship, I think he's done full justice to the topic, more than I think we can do with knowing the term and interpreting it in our own way. So thank you, Harish. And they would be available for a quick book signing for those who are interested in picking up the book as we get into the next panel and the first panel of the day. Thank you so much, Harish. Thank you so much, Mr. Gopalakrishnan and Mr. D.K. Singh for doing these honors. Thank you. Just a small token. Yeah.
Looks small to me.
Yeah, and I'd like to just say that what you've received, what you have received, they are all made by women entrepreneurs who are founders of this business. So we have been very inclusive, and we've worked with 3 women entrepreneurs this year to ensure that everything that we're giving away has been done so that we can also support their market. Thank you. Thank you.